Disclaimer! The following episode contains spoilers for Wonder Woman. Don't go crying to your mum if we spoil it for you. You've been warned! Welcome to PodCapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape. And this week, well, slap me in the face with a wet haddock and call me Susan. DC actually made a good movie! Cue the music! Hello there, Capers, and welcome to PodCapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape. My name is Scott James Merridew, and this week we're talking about Wonder Woman, the first good DC live-action movie possibly ever. Please don't correct me on that. I know, I like this one. No, this is the first good one! But I'm not alone this one. I'm going to be talking about it with a very special guest, as always. Please give a warm welcome, Capers, to Dara Berkey!
Hi.
Hello
How
there.
are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm great.
Good-o. Now, did I say your name right, first of all?
You did not.
Ah, damn it! How do I say your name?
It's Berkey, no L.
Berkey. Okay, sorry, Dara Berkey. I do apologize. Now, Dara, where are you calling from?
New Jersey.
Oh, New Jersey! Another person from New Jersey! We keep going there with all the gangsters and the pizza pies and the cowboys. I may be getting my stereotypes slightly wrong. What's it like over there?
Boring and boring.
Boring and boring. Well, you paint such an attractive picture of New Jersey. You should work for the tourism board. Meanwhile, over here in Edinburgh, it's lovely and sunny. What's going on here? Yeah,
It's gonna rain.
None over here. Well, how weird is that? But anyway, so, Dara, tell us a bit about yourself. What do you do? Tell us your life story.
My life story. I study history. I'm a historian.
Ooh.
Yes. And I am a writer. I'm working on my first novel.
Oh, very nice.
It's a fantasy novel, of course.
Of course it is. Whatever kind is there?
I know. And I work nights at UPS, and that's really all I do, and I babysit my nephews.
Oh, that's very nice. So, you don't work for the site, do you? You don't work for the site?
I do. I'm a senior writer.
Of course you are. You're a senior writer for A Place to Hang Your Cape. I'm very professional, in case you hadn't noticed. So, we're going to be talking about Wonder Woman. What did you think of it?
I really liked it.
I
It
know,
was really
right?
good. I know. It was great.
I mean, I went into this movie with no expectations. I was hoping that it was going to be good because, god damn it, I was already hoping that Suicide Squad was going to be good, and it fucking wasn't. So my expectations were diminished slightly for this. But then it just goes and just gives us a great movie. I'm thinking, what right at this point does DC have to give us a good movie? Years after years of shit, and they said, oh, by the way, turns out we're completely competent.
I know. That's my whole entire relationship with DC is that I know they can do good stuff. I mean, they do great cartoons, but their live action is just shit.
And give us not just a good superhero movie, a great superhero movie. A movie that is fun and action-packed, but emotional, and has, well, interesting characters and well-developed characters. We're gonna get into all of this later. First things though, we have to, before we look to the future and discuss the present, we have to address the past. The fucking past. You're a historian, this is what you do.
Yes.
So, there was another Wonder Woman movie, wasn't there?
Yes, there was.
An animated one.
Yes.
What did you think of it?
It was not my favorite.
I fucking loathe it.
Yeah. This,
That's the noises I make after I saw it. Just like, no.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that good. It really wasn't.
It had Nathan Fillion in it, and it still wasn't good.
That was like the worst Steve Trevor ever.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if it was him or just the way the character was written. I think the character was definitely written crap, but I mean,
Yes.
everything about that movie was so backwards, so obnoxious. I could tell they were trying to make a good movie and trying to put forward a good message. But the problem is that whoever was doing this movie was clearly just a monkey with a typewriter that had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah,
I,
definitely.
Everything is wrong. Wonder Woman is wrong. Steve Trevor is wrong. The villains are wrong. Most of the gods are wrong. What the fuck did they do to Hades?
I have no idea.
They
It
made
was
him
just terrible.
Dionysus.
I, I don't know.
Dude, no. Hades is not like a plump guy reclining on a couch, drinking wine and eating grapes.
No,
That's the
he's
wrong
the god
fucking...
of the underworld.
Make him look... You don't have to make him look like creepy and skeletal and stuff. He can look like a guy, but not that guy, because that's fucking Dionysus!
I
Like, I'm not a Greek theologian or whatever, but I know the fucking difference between the Lord, like the god of fertility and grapes and wine and parties and stuff, and the lord of the fucking underworld. They don't have a lot of crossover.
No, they don't.
I have to get all my anger out right now so I can talk about a good movie later on. I just need to get this out. What did you think of Wonder Woman in this movie? She was voiced by the actress that did Felicity. What's her face?
I have no idea. I never watched that show.
I tried a couple of episodes. No, not so good. She's been in a couple of other things. She's a good actor, but I mean, the character of Wonder Woman in this, I just did not care.
I didn't like her. I didn't like her really in it. She came off as like she was better than everybody.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, compared to most of the characters, she is better than most people.
This is true.
I mean, okay. So this movie tries to portray a feminist message. It does it horribly. Possibly one of the worst examples of someone trying to do a feminist message and failing that I have ever seen. All the men in this movie are scum.
Yes.
Some of the women are also scum. Wonder Woman's reaction to a lot of these female characters is scummy.
Yeah.
I mean, for God's sake, this is Etta Candy. What the? Thank the Lord for this new version of Etta Candy. Yes. She is 10 times the character that Etta Candy in that one.
Yes.
We'll get onto that one later. But this version of Etta Candy, she's Steve Trevor's. She is secretary or something, or is his co-worker or whatever. But she is kind of a seductress and kind of. I'm trying to think of polite words to say it. I can't. Dara, help.
She was You're right. She was a seductress. She was not a good example of a good female character.
No, and that's not to say you can't be a very sexually adventurous, sexually forward person, but then you have Wonder Woman who is judging the fuck out of her, and yeah, she's not a good character and she should be judged in that one, but Wonder Woman meets this woman for like 5 seconds and thinks that's enough to like condemn an entire gender. 2 genders, in fact, because she's condemning men in one way and women in the other. It's If you haven't seen this movie, I'd almost recommend don't watching it. But it really has to be seen to believe the gender politics in this movie are completely 100% backwards. Steve Trevor is a fucking asshole. He is. He tries to get her drunk so that he can seduce her.
I know, that was terrible.
Oh my! And he's the love interest. He's the genuine love interest. And later on, he tries to be like, I don't think this is a world worth living in if you're not in it. And then immediately after he says that, he tries to kiss her again. Jeez. Oh, fuck Steve Trevor in that movie. Fuck all of the characters. It's just,
Yeah, it was not. It was just, I don't even.
Anything else about this movie that we can talk about? Because it had Ares in it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just sort of. Yeah. He was there.
He was there.
Really weird ending for him. I don't want to go into too much spoilers because why deprive people of the joy that is this movie? And it ends on this weird note with Wonder Woman fighting this cheetah lady who just comes right the fuck out of nowhere. Like, random cheetah lady! Fight! Okay. Yay,
Yeah.
Wonder Woman! And then there's
That's
this movie. Thank
Yes.
God for this movie. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go over the plot briefly. Not going to go too much detail, but briefly review plot and just discuss it as it goes on. So this movie starts off right after the events of Batman vs Superman: Dawn of the Subplots. So I like to call it. And
Yep.
Diana Prince, as is her alter ego, is working in the Louvre.
Yes.
Nice job if you can get it. And
Yes.
she receives a photograph of her and a bunch of chums from World War One from Bruce Wayne, who thankfully does not appear in the movie.
Thank God.
Too distracting. The fact that he sent it at all is just the right amount, just to connect it to everything else, because otherwise it would have felt
Yes.
a bit too disconnected. But it was just it's a tiny little thing. She gets a letter, like a message from Bruce Wayne, like, here, I found this photograph that we remember from Dawn of the Subplots. And so it's a nice little tie-in, but that's all the time we get, and thank goodness for that.
Yes.
And then, flashback! Wibble wobble, wibble wobble, wibble wobble.
Right.
It starts, we're on Themyscira,
The mascara. Yep.
which is a fucking difficult thing to pronounce if you've only ever seen it written down.
Yes.
Themyscira, Themyscira, I don't know. But anyway, it's the home of the Amazons, and all the animals, the Amazons, are all fighting. And then there's little baby Diana, who's like
Yes.
mimicking them, and it's so cute to see this little girl just like hiya, hiya.
Yeah, I know, right? She's adorable.
It's adorable, and her mum doesn't really want her to fight. Imagine that, a parent trying to be protective over the child. I haven't seen that before, but and then there's this other character whose name I genuinely don't know how to. It's Antipode, Robin Wright. It's Robin Wright.
Yes. Her, the aunt. She's the.
Yeah, this is now. That's another thing. She's the aunt. I don't. Because when you go into like the origin of the Amazons, that doesn't really make much sense that she's her aunt, because apparently the Amazons were created by Zeus to help mankind because it was going a bit wrong. But then mankind enslaved the Amazons. So the Amazons, because of Ares, apparently, because of his influence. So the Amazons were like, well, fuck this shit. We're going off on our own. We've got an island, and it's going to have cake and sabuto and blackjack and hookers. So, I don't know. But, yeah, so that's their origin story. And so, apparently they're all created by this. There's a little image of them just, like, wandering out of, like, the sea. Does that mean, like, they're all sisters?
I'm not sure where they were trying to go with that, because technically all the Amazons see each other as sisters.
Oh, yeah, because that's what I thought initially when I saw the movie. I thought it wasn't like, oh, you're my sister. I thought you were like, sister!
Yeah, no, I think they're all seem as just all sisters. I mean, little Diana's raised by like 3,000 Amazons, so, you know. So she probably sees them all as family.
Yeah, I mean, it's a minor point, but just a tiny bit confusing. But, and so she wants to train with her aunt, Robin Wright, and her aunt's like, yeah, you should train because, you know, bad stuff could be on the horizon. You got to be prepared. And her mum's like, no, because it might never happen. Well, yeah, but it might also happen.
It's happened. Yeah.
I mean, and it does happen. You know.
It does. Yes.
Clearly, this queen, Hippolyta, has a lot of foresight. But anyway, and there's a scene where she tells young Diana, like, the backstory and stuff, and also that she was, like, given to her from Zeus because she sculpted her out of clay and given life by Zeus. And, I could have used a flashback of that, just to see that. That would have been a cool scene to see.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. Except, yeah.
We just get told it, like, oh, by the way, you were made out of clay and now you're real. Okay,
yeah.
just gonna wave that by us. Okay, fine. But then, she grows up and she becomes like a pretty good warrior. She's still got a bit to learn. And then, something's going on. Oh my god, there's a plane. Oh, it's crashed right outside the fucking island. And here's the thing about the island. There's like this force field surrounding it, but it doesn't stop people from going in. It just disguises it.
This is it. Yeah.
So really anyone could go in there at any time, which begs the question, how has this not happened before? How have people not accidentally stumbled onto did like the ancient Greeks not accidentally sail into it? Did anyone beyond that ever not accidentally wander in? I feel like this, because it's not like they're in the middle of the ocean. I don't even know where they are technically. They're like, what, in the Aegean? Where?
I'm not even sure. I think they're somewhere in the Mediterranean. That would be my best guess.
It'd have to be either that or the Aegean, because it's got to be somewhere close to Greece, or at least close to where Steve Trevor was flying from, because he was flying from a
Ottoman Empire, which is modern day Turkey.
Oh, okay, so yeah, maybe it is the Mediterranean. It's somewhere close to there. Yeah, it's got to be.
Yes.
But that's a very small body of water, which in the last, however, in the thousands of years it's been since the Amazons first went there, there's been a lot of boat traffic, for want of a better word.
Yeah.
I would think it's stopping people from coming in by sea, but maybe if the force field didn't stop anyone from coming in from the sky like a plane, that would have made much more sense.
Yes, but then the German boats came in.
Yeah.
So I'm not even sure how they were even protected.
Yeah, it's not really protection, it's disguise, really.
Basically, yeah.
And yeah, it's not really good disguise because, I mean, it's just fog. Like, people go through fog all the time. It's not that big a deal. Maybe it's like rocks and whirlpools and fucking krakens or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it did give us this awesome, cool beach scene.
It did. Yes.
In fact, the action scenes in this movie, just in general, are fantastic.
They are. Yeah.
It's so cool because the Germans come and they're just shooting people all the time, and then the Amazons come in and they've got fucking bow and arrows and they are massacring them.
I know, isn't that awesome?
It's just like, oh, we've got rifles. We should be fine. Twang, dead.
Yeah, no, yeah. And I liked how they were jumping off the cliffs and doing all this, like, aerobatic stuff.
Yeah, like with ropes and shit. And yes, some Amazons do get killed, and that's really bad, but they fucking hold their own, and Steve Trevor helps out a little bit in ways he can, and then there's, like, shield, and then they propel people up with their shields. It's cool. It's cool.
Yes, it's very cool.
And then sadly, Robin Wright dies, and we feel bad.
Yeah, we do.
She gets shot. I'm not sure if it's entirely a fatal wound, but yeah, Mentor Figure's got to die. So it's either that or the mum.
Yeah, and they're not going to kill the mom.
No, because she's fucking queen. Can't do queen. Yeah. No. So, and that happens, and then Steve Trevor gets interrogated by the lasso of truth. And I'm really glad that in this movie they made it so the lasso of truth compels someone to tell the truth, as in to speak, as opposed to like says, okay, from now on you have to tell the truth. Because if that was the case the latter way, you could just not say anything. Exactly. Yeah, I'm compelled to tell the truth. Where are you from? I'm not going to tell you. Well, crap, that is technically the truth. Right. There's a loophole with this stupid glowing rope, but that's not the case. And turns out that Steve Trevor is a spy working for... he's working for the Americans, but working with the
American Expedition Force.
Yeah. Right. Okay, because it turns out it's 1918 and World War One. People are starting to get a bit sick of it. So it's the closing days of the war. I think after 4 years of people dying but not doing anything apart from that, yeah, you're going to get a bit sick of it. So, and then Diana's like, well, holy crap, this is a big war. The war to end all wars. Little did they know that, Ares is supposed to bring about. So I should be going over and stopping this. And her mum's like, no. But Diana's like, please. And her mum's like, no. And she's like, please. And she's like, no. And Diana's like, well, fuck you. I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah. But basically. Yeah. And she steals a bunch of stuff. Like this sword that's supposed to be able to kill a god. A shield, a lasso of truth. And a stupid costume. Right. The costume is stupid. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not the worst it could have been. But, I mean, it could have been better. It could have been better.
Could have been better, yeah.
I mean, the stuff she's wearing before that, like the training gear she's wearing, that, I mean, it's not armor, but it feels much more practical than what she ends up wearing. Right. Although I do appreciate, I do like the fact I do like the fact that because apparently I don't know that much about Wonder Woman, but apparently in the original comics, that armor was sort of like made by the Amazons because they'd like take the iconography of anyone they ally themselves with and just smush it together to this armor, which is why she's got this eagle thing and the stars and stuff.
Yeah.
Which was stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then they end up going to England from wherever they're, and I'm surprised it takes them the short amount of time. It takes them a day to get from the middle of the Mediterranean to England. Not even that, like less than that. And they're just on a piddly little sailboat. It should take them a couple of days at least. And bear in mind, it's wartime. Hello, the Navy is a thing.
Yeah, no, it should have taken them like 3 weeks at least.
I wouldn't say that much, but about that time, yeah. It's avoiding big German ships and everything. And it's not. Do they even have a map? I think they do have a map. I don't know, but it's even with a map, it would still take fucking ages. But no, they end up in London, and Diana looks around. She's like, "Holy crap, it's hideous!" And I'm like, "Oh, thanks. That's the capital of the nation of my birth. Thank you very much."
That's the capital. Yes.
It's just, yeah.
Well.
Thanks for that, Diana. Yeah. I know it's London, I know it's filthy, but it's got a charm about it that you wouldn't understand. You've been there like 5 minutes, Diana.
Not even 5 minutes.
Not even 5 minutes. She just woke up. Yes. Oh God. And so they report to. They meet Atticandi, who's amazing. Love Atticandi.
I loved her. I loved her.
Who's the actor that plays her? What's her name?
I have no idea.
I haven't seen her in anything before. So it's Lucy Davis. She was very good.
Lucy Davis. Yeah, she was very good as Atticandi.
I like her because it was
yeah.
Big. We'll talk about more about it later, but there's a big opportunity for this character to be just comic relief, and she isn't. She's comic relief, but she's the good kind of comic relief, the non-annoying kind.
Exactly.
So that was
the non-annoying kind,
which is the best kind of. Wait, you don't want the comic relief to be annoying. That's not really something people go for, unless you're Adam Sandler. But anyway.
No.
And so this is, this sort of like Pretty Woman-esque scene where they have to like get Diana a proper outfit for the fucking Edwardian stuffed shirts. And again, this could have been very silly, wasn't too bad. You know, how do women fight in these dresses? Oh, because all she does is fights and the women don't, and it's different, and because Edwardian, and we get it, we get the joke.
Yeah. It wasn't too big of a surprise. It was in the trailer.
Yeah, obviously, I only watched like one of the trailers and stuff. I watched like the bit because in my cinema they were constantly showing this trailer where it's like a really short trailer, but before that it was Gal Gadot and Chris Pine just recounting the plot of the movie beforehand, and I'm sitting there thinking like, this is what trailers are for. You don't need to tell me the story of the movie. Just give me a trailer, like a bunch of clips, and then I'll go see the movie. Don't explain what it's all about, Chris Pine and Gal Gadot. So weird that they sometimes do that. Just, I think it's because the cinema I go to is a Cineworld, and that's a chain. So often you get like these trailers, like with an actor saying, "Hi, Cineworld fans." Although the Americans, they often go Cineworld, which is not how you say it, by the way. You're American. Tell all the others. That's not how you say it. It's irritating to me. But anyway, so they go see the the high command of English and American forces and stuff. And there's this one guy, Sir Patrick, whose other name I can't remember, who's like, "Hey, you know what? Maybe we should give peace a chance." And always like, blah, 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 "Peace a chance? No, thank you. We're gonna keep on fighting the war because we have mustaches in our warrior." Blah. I thought that was a very good impression of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, "A woman in the war room? What's going on here?" Blah, 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 blah. That's basically what they're saying. And then she turns out, by the way, I sort of know what's going on, so I'm just going to show all you guys up. And it's a little bit on the nose, but I kind of like it just because I want to see the mustaches put in their place.
Me too, yeah. That was funny.
Never trust a man in a mustache. But anyway. And So then they sort of like the forbidden, like, okay, basically we know where the bad guy is, but you're not going to go near them because armistice. But then this Patrick guy is like,
Right.
hey, so this whole thing, maybe you should go in there, but like undercover, sneaky. And so Gusmine's like, all right, fine, let's go and do it. And Diana, you can come along if you like. And she's like, if I like, I'm coming along whether you like it or not. And so they have to sort of recruit their little team, which includes Saeed, what does he do? He's not a smuggler. That's the other guy. What does Saeed do? No, that's the actor's name. The actor's name is Saeed. The character's name is, what's the character's name? I'm looking up. Samir. Samir, that's it. So yeah, Samir. What does Samir do? Remind me.
It seems like he's kind of like a con artist. He likes to talk up of stories and get people to give him money.
Basically,
because that's what he was doing in the bar when he was like, yeah,
someone you want in all of your teams. Yeah, and
yeah.
And then we're introduced to Charlie, whom I love. I'm actually in love with this man, who's a Scottish sniper, played by Ewan Bremner, whom I also love. And
right.
I like the way he's introduced. You think, like, there's two guys fighting each other. You think, oh, the guy, Charlie, the guy we're looking for. He must be the guy doing the beating up. No, he's the guy who's getting beaten up.
Right. But no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he is Scottish.
That's funny.
Which I like.
Yes, very Scottish.
Very Scottish. And I like the interaction between him and Diana, because it turns out he's a sniper. And he's like, oh, I shoot them from really far away, and if I'm lucky, they don't know what hit them. And Diana does not think that is honourable at all.
Right.
Yeah, it's a sort of set up this thing where Diana, I mean, at the beginning of the movie, she thinks she knows everything. She thinks she knows what's going on. She's very idealistic, but also very naive. And she's confronted with these ideas that she really does not like. She doesn't like the fact that Steve is a spy. She doesn't like, the people running the show. She doesn't like anything basically about the modern world. But it's only later when she discovers, actually, there is something more to this than what I initially saw. And Charlie, I think, is a great example of that, because the more we learn about him, we're going to talk about that later, the more we realise there's more to this guy than just, he's just some cheeky Scottish guy who shoots people from really far away. He was sort of going on Diana on this journey where she discovers, like, more about this world. And, oh god, I nearly made a Little Mermaid joke. I fucking nearly did that. I'm so ashamed. No, this movie is 10 times the movie the fucking Little Mermaid is. But anyway, so they go to the Western Front and meet this smuggler called Chief, who's Native American. And, we don't get as much development with him as the other two characters, with Samir and Charlie. He's kind of interesting, though. And I thought he was alright, but then the movie kicks into high gear. Oh, yes.
Right, it definitely does.
Basically, they're in the trenches, and they're like, okay, so we've got to go around this bit, blah, blah, blah. And one of them was like, well, why don't we just, like, go over, through, goes directly to this town that we've got to go to. It's like, that's no man's land, we can't go through there. It's like, oh, really? Hold my beer. And then we finally get to see her in the Wonder Woman outfit, which, I mean, I don't think it's a very good outfit, but it's pretty epic when you first see it. And she charges right through no man's land.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was really good.
And they're shooting at her with machine guns. And she's just like, nope.
I know.
Ding, with her, like, wrist gauntlet things and with a shield and stuff. And she's, like, jumping over them and bounding through them. And then the rest of them, all the other people, are just, like, watching her from behind, like, should we go help her? She seems to be handling it pretty well. Let's go to. Charge! And it's great. And then they get to the town. More fighting. More action. She fucking topples a tank.
Right.
A tank!
I know. She, like, lifted it up like a tank.
And she lifted it up like a tank. Yeah! And then there's a guy, like a sniper, in a bell tower, because that's the only places where snipers are. And Charlie is about to shoot it, but he can't because turns out he's got post-traumatic stress and all sorts of problems with that. So he can't. So what does Diana do? What does Wonder Woman do? She just fucking, like, launches herself with their help into the building and fucking demolishes the fucking building.
I know. She demolished the entire building. It was really cool.
I mean, that's like taking out a fly with a cannon, but it's fucking awesome.
I know. And it was great that Steve Trevor saw the piece of metal to mimic what the Amazons did back on the beach, too.
It was a great callback. It was a great little bit for him. It was a great bit for just Wonder Woman. And then just like the dust settles and all the villagers are like staring at Wonder Woman like, well, holy shit! Did not expect to see this when I woke up this morning.
Yeah.
Yes. And then things...
Yeah.
And then things just go like a really nice way. We get to see a lovely scene with like Ewan Bremner singing on the piano, learning a bit more about him, a bit more about Samir and stuff, interacting with the villagers and stuff. And well, it's a really nice scene. And I'm thinking, well, nothing could possibly bad happen to all these people. Nothing bad could happen at all. And then they get the nice little bit with a photographer, and he's taking that photo that we saw in Dawn of Subplots and early in the movie. And it's a nice little thing. I like how, of all the things they fucking set up in fucking Dawn of Justice, this is one of the things that I'm glad they set up, because it's such a small thing, an almost inconsequential thing, yet it ties into this movie so much. It's like it's like the core of this movie. That one picture with Diana and Steve and Charlie and Chief and Samir. It's great.
Right. It is.
Yeah. And then they find out, oh, the guy who we think might be Ares, well, who Diana thinks might be Ares in disguise.
Diana thinks this, yes.
Yeah, is General Ludendorff. The most German name ever made. But anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that German guy's name? Well, it's probably Ludendorff. It might not be, but that's a reasonable guess. Yeah, so, they think he's Ares because it turns out he's been working with this evil scientist named Dr. Poison.
Yeah, Dr. Poison.
Wow! Dr. Poison! Why, did you spend like a whole 10 minutes thinking up that name? Or was it probably more like 10 seconds? Dr. Poison. Why? Because she poisons people. Yeah. And she's a doctor. Oh! And it's annoying because the character is actually pretty cool and is portrayed very well, but has a stupid name! I'm sorry. I got a little bit emotional. What's her name? Her real name is like Dr. Isabel Maru?
Dr. Maru, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, but... just call it that. I know there's a character in the comics called Dr. Poison, but you don't need that. But anyway, so it turns out she's been developing this gas that could like eat through gas masks, and that there is no defense against.
Yeah,
and that's pretty cool.
Right.
And they use it to kill a bunch of the German high command who like saying, hey, you know what? We're kind of dying out here. Maybe we're gonna
do the armistice. Yeah.
And Ludendorff is like, well, I'm the bad guy, so I guess I'm just going to kill you all by locking you in this room with a big gas canister that's going to kill all of you. Yeah. And then so later on, Diana and team find out that he's in this like castle because they're having like a nice little party. Okay. And Steve Trevor and Samir infiltrated. It's a pretty funny scene with them getting in, like with the car. You forgot my invitation. What the hell? That was pretty cool. But Diana ends up knocking this lady out who just sort of wanders off for no reason. I really don't know why. Just stealing a dress.
Just for the dress.
Just for the dress. I'm wondering what happened to that woman. Is she just wandering around the woods like half dazed because Diana knocked her unconscious and naked? Or did they swap clothes entirely? Is she just going around wearing Wonder Woman's armor now? What's going on?
I have no idea. She must have gotten knocked out or something.
She must have done, yeah. We never see her again. So maybe Diana killed her. We don't know. And so,
we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. And so Steve Trevor is sort of chatting up Dr. Poison, who's got this like this mask thing over part of her face, sort of like a lower half version of the Phantom of the Opera masks. That was pretty cool, and gets sort of distracted when Diana comes in unannounced, and this sort of turns the whole. He was trying to like get her to talk about all of her secrets, and that didn't work out because of her. Diana, meanwhile, is wearing a dress. She looks lovely.
Yeah, because
but there's a sword in the back of it. There's a sword is nestled in the back of it.
Of the dress.
Of the dress. Did no one notice this? Did no one say, why does that lady...
notice that.
Did no one think, that lady has a sword? Were we supposed to bring swords? I'm pretty sure that's not part of the dress code. On no part of the invitation did it say, by the way, you must bring a sword. It's,
They must have gotten distracted by something else. Because that's so obvious. It's a
maybe
sword.
they got distracted by Chris Pine's eyes or something. Who knows? Those beautiful, beautiful eyes. But anyway, and so she nearly kills Ludendorff, but is stopped at the last second by Steve Trevor, who's like still trying to salvage this mission. And this is one of the things I like about Diana, is that she's pursuing this sort of, not vendetta, but this quest to kill Ares at the detriment of everything. She refuses to see the big picture and just thinks, small picture, kill Ares, go home, job done. And I like that this sort of goes that way. But in the end, they managed to track him to this airfield where they're planning to ship all, like, transport all this horrible gas to London. Oh no! And Ludendorff, meanwhile, has been taking, like, this gas that Dr. Poison has been giving him that makes him, like, super strong or invigorated or something. I don't know. And this makes he can sort of go toe-to-toe with Wonder Woman for a bit. She kicks his ass pretty soon after that. And she fucking straight up skewers him with her sword. She stabs that bastard. Right through, and
goes through the roof.
Through the roof. He's on the ground, on the roof of this little tower thing. She skewers him. And then she's like, okay, war should be over right now, right? And everyone's just like going about still doing war.
And then...
I was like, did you really think it would be that easy? Did you really think it was going to be that easy? No.
Easy.
Oh, I guess that must have not have been Ares. I can't imagine how anyone could have foreseen the fact that the obvious warmonger was not Ares. What a plot twist.
Yeah.
But then it turns out that Sir Patrick, the guy that was pushing for peace, he's Ares. Ares. Again! Could never have seen that coming. Well, of
course.
Yeah. But then it gets kind of interesting, because it turns out Ares, not entirely the bad guy that we think he is. He's the bad guy, but...
Yeah.
Turns out
he's the bad guy.
Yeah, Diana's like saying, you've been busy trying to make people have war. And he's like, oh, I never made anyone have war. I never said influenced anyone to actually do war. I just showed them how they could all destroy each other. And they did war for me.
Of course. It's suggestive thoughts. It brings in the question of whether or not men are good or evil.
Yeah, it's like... It's the difference between setting someone's house on fire and handing that person a box of matches and seeing whether or not they set their own house on fire. It's a really interesting thing. But then he goes all Darth Vader basically. It's just like, join me and together we'll kill every last man, woman and child on the planet and make it a paradise. An empty, desolate paradise. And it shows her a vision of a nice, pretty meadow. Now, I don't think that's really enough to convince anyone. Like, you could take the most stupid person in the world and just show them a pretty meadow and say, help me commit genocide. And even they won't, go for it. It's not as compelling an argument as you think it is, Ares, old chum. And so they have this big fight.
Yeah, but it was a pretty cool fight. I mean, it was a lot of CGI, though.
Yeah, a bit too much. I understand they're going to need a bit of CGI because we're dealing with the god of war here, and he's floating around and creating lightning and stuff.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah. No, it was a good fight.
Yeah, just a bit.
And
much. then sad things happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another Steve goes out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
flying a plane.
I didn't even think of that. Oh my god. Yeah. Another Steve. So in a war, goes out on a plane to self-sacrifice. Only this Steve ain't coming back. Steve Trevor takes all the gas on this plane, flies up in the sky, shoots it, explodes it, and dies. And it's really sad.
Dies.
And then Wonder Woman
really sad.
goes apeshit.
Yes, very apeshit.
She
bursts out of the metal, goes all godly,
flinging metal at her and all sorts. And then she fucking tears Ares apart, and he's fucking dead. So no more war ever until a couple of years later.
Yeah, no more.
But, I mean, the movie ends on that sort of bittersweet note where Diana and Etta Candy and all the others are just sort of like in London, and everyone's like, "Yay, war's over! Hooray! It's great for us, not so much for Germany because reparations
and stuff."
Yeah, but great, yay for us! And then they go to like this bit where like it's like a little more memorial, and they see a picture of Steve Trevor, and it's pretty sad, and it's like, ah. But then flash forward, wibble wobble wibble wobble, to the present day. Diana's like looking over the photo, and she's like, "Oh, miss those times." And then randomly she like goes to the roof of like whatever building she's in Paris. She sees something in the distance. I don't know what it is. I couldn't see anything on the screen. And then she like leaps off to action. And I kind of think like, could they not have shown like an explosion or a cry or sirens or something?
Something.
Because she just randomly goes to this roof and then jumps off, and that's the end of the movie. And it's a pretty cool jumping off scene.
That's
but, like,
true.
What triggered that? What triggered that?
Yeah, where is she going? Exactly.
Is she going out to get milk? What's happening? You don't need to dress up in your costume for that, Wonder Woman. And then that's the movie. And damn if it wasn't a pretty good movie.
It was. It was a good movie.
So now we've got to go into like the little details, little things that we either really liked or really did not like. And honestly, there are very few things that I did not like about this movie. So I'm just trying to think. What could we discuss we haven't discussed already? What did you really like about this movie?
Well, I like the message that that men are more complicated than just black and white and good and evil. That they make, to some decisions that lead to bad things, but they can change, but then there's a few things that I didn't like. But these just might be me being a nitpicker.
Oh, we encourage nitpicking on this show. We love nitpicking. If I didn't nitpick, I wouldn't say anything.
My big problem is the whole emphasis on Zeus in the origin of the Amazons. I feel that Zeus wasn't really involved in the creation of Amazons in the comics. It was really all the goddesses of the Greek mythology, like Athena and Artemis and everything. I thought maybe they should have used them instead of Zeus.
Yeah,
because
I didn't even know that. This is why I'm glad you're on. Why do the Amazons have to owe their existence to Zeus? Jeez.
Yeah, so that's like that's one thing I really didn't like, and I didn't like that Zeus wound up to be her actual father, because I feel that Hippolyta wouldn't betray Hera, who gets a bad rap sometimes, but she's the goddess of marriage and fidelity. So she wouldn't betray one of the goddesses to sleep with Zeus to have Diana. That was like...
That's not going to turn out very well for her. And, and just trying to think, what else I really... I like the whole humanity thing. I like they show that people are they're complicated at the end of the day. It was so easy for this movie to do like a black and white thing, like, man is good and they're worth fighting for. Like, at the end, Diana has this little speech like, man has a lot of darkness, but there are bright spots in that darkness, and that's worth fighting for. And it's a very nuanced, good way of doing it, because they show fucking misery in this movie. They show like wounded soldiers and terrified civilians and
a destroyed town by a poison gas attack.
Oh my god, yeah. And
that was after they saved the town, and then it was just awful. That was just awful.
Oh god, the photographer guy who was so nice, he's dead. They're all dead. It's oh god, it's a really hard scene to watch, and I like that
Yeah.
they didn't shy away from that, but they also had like funny bits of funny scenes. It's basically it shows that people make at DC they finally learned that you can be nuanced with your filmmaking. You don't have to be all dark all the
Yes.
time. You can just have a
Fine.
movie that has different elements in it that complement each other and work well together.
Right.
Finally, it's only
Finally.
how in the DCU how many? So we got like Man of Steel, Batman vs
Or
Superman,
Superman, Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. So it's taken 3 movies to get here. 4, sorry, 4. Plus however many trash DC movies have DC made along
Yeah.
the way. It's finally.
Finally.
Speaking of darkness, that ending scene, as well as the CGI, it was very dark for me in terms of actual lighting.
Yeah.
'Cause
That was a little bit dark.
It's at night, and there's a bit later after the fight's over where like the sun rises. But like a lot of movies these days, and DC is not alone. There's have this tendency to just set there's all of the scenes in darkness.
Dark
and
scenes.
It's very
Yeah.
it's
Annoying.
It's annoying at best. It's annoying at worst. You can't see anything.
See, yeah, you can't see anything. They do that a lot in Game of Thrones.
Lot of Game of Thrones, but in Game of Thrones, that often that's for atmosphere basis, and there's a lot of scenes that do take place in the light, and some that don't. With DC and on Marvel side, Fantastic Four, or should I say,
Yeah.
Fan Four Stick, a lot of the scenes are just in darkness, and it's not
Right.
fun to watch. And in fairness, there are action scenes of this movie, like the beach scene and the village no man's land attack sort of thing, which are all in light. But I mean, it was just a bit too dark. It's probably the best version of all these dark scenes that I've seen. It's still
Yeah.
annoying though.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. And what else? I think we covered actually most of the things that I liked and disliked about it. Oh yeah, Danny Houston got to be in a good superhero movie for a change.
Yeah.
Yay! He's probably the worst character in it, but still, yay!
Yeah.
I think it's not like he's a bad character. It's just that out of all the characters, he was the least interesting. Ares was much more interesting. Dr. Poison, was still more interesting. He's just a
Yeah.
generic German bad guy, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, we
Yeah.
will keep on fighting the war. Basically, that's him.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else that you really disliked about the movie?
I like how they handled Diana and Steve's relationship because I was kind of worried that they were gonna kind of like not write it well because sometimes their
Well,
relationship
given the
comes off
last
really
time that
bad.
happened, you know.
Yeah, it comes off really well. But Steve Trevor is like he's a likable character in this movie, and he's really likable. And I think that has a lot to do with Chris Pine. I mean,
Goddamn gorgeous Chris Pine.
yeah, yeah. He did a really good job. I mean, he's charming. He's a spy. You know, he likes to dance and read, but he respects Wonder Woman. He's like in awe of her. You know, and he tries to protect her at first, but then when she can handle herself, he's like, okay, I'm just gonna follow you.
Yeah, they get all the potential misogyny out of the way right away in the beach scene, where he's just like, "Come over here, because
Right.
shit's going down," and then she's like fighting this, and like, "Oh, well, I guess she don't need no protecting." Okay, but then again, he does have to teach her some things later on when she steps into fucking Edwardian society, and in fairness, that's more of a thing, a comment on Edwardian society than anything else.
Yeah.
Oh dear, oh god, I'm so glad we live now. But anyway,
Yes.
why did Sir Patrick make Etta Candy, who is a secretary, run this Black Ops mission? Like, I'm not saying she's not capable. I'm just wondering why he thinks she is capable.
Yeah, because when she was told that, she kind of made a face like, I don't know about this. I think he was trying to do it just to keep an eye on them. In all honesty.
Makes sense. I'm surprised no one else thought. Like, did Steve Trevor not say, "Well, Etta, I think you could do it," but I mean, that's a bit of a weird thing. I know some other people that are far more qualified, but okay, I guess you know, how many years have you worked in the military, Etta? You know, running these sort of missions? None?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm glad she did it. I like the fact that she did it. Although, we get a scene where, like, she gives them some information over the phone, like, map information. But we don't really see her after that.
No. Yeah.
Which was a bit
So
disappointing.
the next time we see her, it's yeah, she was a good character. I liked her.
Yeah, she's a good character. She doesn't even really get a reaction to Steve's death. You think, like, she would have something to say about that, but no. She doesn't even have any lines.
Yeah,
after...
she's his secretary.
And she
Yeah,
knows him probably the best
after.
out of all the characters. She, like, and she clearly has some sort of relationship with him. And I could have used a bit more scenes, maybe just with them one-on-one, or just with her and Diana. Just a bit, make a bit stand out a bit more. But the little we got was good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I think speaking of the characters, I think we should move on to them and talk about the characters a bit more. What do you think?
I think that's fine.
Okay, so let's talk about Diana. Now, we was talking about how she's a bit naive, but very idealistic. But I think it's a naivete that is completely and utterly understandable. Like, it makes sense.
I mean, added to the fact that her mother was overprotective of her, and she lived on the islands of, you know, Amazons, away from all the developments of the, you know, man's world, you know. So it's you know, it's there.
Yeah, it's completely understandable. It makes sense within the context of the movie, and then that naivete doesn't remain. It's stripped away by the end, and she becomes a much more developed person, and that's what I like about this movie. Is with
there's character development.
There's actual good Yes, finally, and it's not like, oh my god, our mothers have the same name, best friends.
Yeah, it's not like that.
It actually makes sense. This movie was written by, I'm looking up the name right now. It was written. The story was by Zack Snyder and Jason. I don't want to say. Fuchs? Fuchs? I don't know how to say his name. I hope it whatever you're thinking, Capers, that's not how it's spelt. And this guy, Alan Heinberg, looked him up. He's done a lot of stuff for television, a lot of stuff for comics. He wrote Young Avengers, which I haven't read a lot of, but the little that I have read, I really like, because that had, like, Wiccan and Hulkling, and I really like them. And Hawk Girl and this Iron Lad thing guy. But that was really cool, and he's a very good writer. And I think that's the great thing about this movie is, despite, I mean, Zack Snyder having worked on the story kind of worried me when I saw that in the credits. Like, story by this guy, and Zack Snyder. Oh, God, no!
I know.
But clearly, Alan Heinberg is a good enough writer. He was
the one, He was the one that probably wrote it mostly.
Yeah, and thank goodness for that. And thank goodness they had a very good director to have along.
Patty Jenkins,
Patty Jenkins, the only thing I know her from is Monster, which I've yet to see, but I've heard so many good things about.
Yeah, that's the only movie I heard her direct, and I heard it was really good. I haven't seen it either. So, but I'm glad she did a good job on it.
I think she's very good. It's a great sort of directing, because it's one that you don't really notice. You don't really notice the direction. You just think, oh my god, this is cool. Which is what you should think. You shouldn't be thinking about the direction when you're watching a movie. You should be thinking about the movie. That's the mark of a good director, at least in my opinion. And because there's so many directors out there that try to be over-stylistic, like Snyder, who's like, notice me in my directing. Oh, look how cool this is. Ooh, slow-mo. Ooh, things. Ooh, and it's too much.
Explosions.
You don't need it. And there's people who under-direct, who do very little, and it's just boring to watch. This is perfect. Right here. This is perfect.
Right. Yes. It was perfect.
So, we're getting a bit off track now. So, Steve Trevor. I thought he was like a bit like Han Solo, but not in an obnoxious way. What did you think? Yeah.
I kind of feel like he was also channeling a little bit of Captain Kirk from Star Trek 2 into it, like the charming part of his character.
Well, you see, I don't know, because Captain Kirk's sort of charming aspect for me is just like trying to sleep with everyone he comes in contact with, which I don't really like. That's not charming. That's just being a creep.
No, it's not.
And so I don't really get that from here, because, I mean, there was times when he could have been a creep, like in the scene of the boat where they have this talk about people
they had this talk. That was awesome.
Sleeping with each other. And it's almost like he's a dad trying to explain to his child what this stuff is. And she's like, oh, no, I know about this stuff. I've read about it. He's like, okay.
Okay.
And it could have been like it's meant to be uncomfortable, but it's the right kind of uncomfortable. But it could have been so much worse.
It could have been really creepy. It could have really been creepy. Yeah.
I'm so glad he didn't try anything. Thank God. Ugh.
Yeah.
No. Didn't even just think about it. I think no, because again, that's the sort of thing that animated Steve Trevor would have done. We fucking hate him.
Yes. And I like how Steve was like a counterpoint to Diana, where he was a little bit more, cynical. He's seen the world, he's been in the war, and he's trying to like tell her that it's not as simple as just killing Ares. He doesn't even believe her that Ares is really the cause of it.
Which is a bit weird considering the fact that he's been he's accounted a magical island full of only women that are ageless, immortal.
And you use the magical lasso on him to tell the truth.
I don't believe that just because one thing is true, it must mean other things are true with no evidence. But at the same time, do you not want to consider the fact that maybe what she's saying is true?
True.
Yeah.
Meh. So, no, but I also think that maybe he just thought it was also really, actual men's fault that they're in the war anyway, not just Ares.
Yeah, which is, and it's like he becomes a bit, as the movie progresses, he becomes a bit more open to these sort of ideas, and Diana learns a lot more about his sort of ideas. And so it's a free exchange of information and ideals and principles and philosophies.
Right.
And it's just sort of like one way of thinking is right, another way of thinking is wrong. Boom. It's like mixed.
Yes.
And that's interesting.
It is interesting. Finally.
Finally, it's interesting. Oh, God. Ares. Interesting idea. I feel like
it could have been better.
It could have been better. He could have been a lot worse. His motivation was interesting. He thinks mankind is inherently evil, so he's out to destroy them. And he's like, and the way he's going about that is interesting. But I feel like his backstory, we get a bit of a backstory. He kills all the gods. He gets cast down by Zeus, and his powers really diminished and stuff like that. I feel like, he could have been made to be a really sympathetic character. Like, he saw what humans were doing. And he tried to explain this to the other gods. Like, come on, guy. We could have had a scene with him, not maybe begging or pleading, please see how bad they are. And they're like, no, we don't want to listen. Maybe the gods themselves could be really arrogant in this. And then he does bad things, and they do bad things, and he could have some real anger and resentment, and also sadness about what happened to him and his other gods that were basically his family.
Right.
But we never really get that. It's just like, oh yeah, I killed the gods. They cast me down, so now I'm going to kill all mankind. Deal with it.
Well, I think that's a problem in a lot of superhero movies. They don't really develop their villains.
Except for Loki.
Except for Loki, that's right.
But he's the only one, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. But it's like a really bad habit that they get into. It's more about the superhero and less about what the villain's real motivations are. I feel that you're right, he should have been more of a sympathetic character. Because,
yeah, just because, definitely a bad guy, definitely doing bad things, but still, yeah, and it's kind of a missed opportunity, but it's a minor point. As long as the heroes, the main characters, are good and well-rounded and well-developed, that's enough for me. I want the villains to be good. I love it when the villains are good, but if it's not, then I can live with it.
Yeah, so can I.
And so the side characters, Hippolyta and Robin Wright, because I still can't pronounce that name. Anything more you want to say about their characters?
No, not really. Hippolyta was was overprotective mom, and then the aunt who was like, oh, I'm just going to teach you this on the side. The cool aunt.
Yeah, she's the cool aunt. She's the coolest aunt. Yeah.
Yes.
And, remind me of another thing. When she's about to leave, Wonder Woman is confronted by a mum who says, you know that if you leave, you could never be able to come back. And I'm sitting there thinking, why? Is she physically unable to come back, or is she just not allowed? And if she's not allowed, Why can't you just, like, reverse that decision? And if she's not allowed to come back, like, physically can't come back because of the magical enchantments or whatever, I mean, like, fucking the German army was able to get in there. Why can't
Was able
she?
to get in. Yeah. I think it's actually a reference to a law by the goddess of love, Aphrodite, who
Aphrodite,
said that
Aphrodite, the goddess of love. Sorry. Sorry, continue. Sorry.
So she when the goddesses created Themyscira to give a home to the Amazons, they decreed that if someone left, they couldn't return. So, but they didn't explain that because of the whole Zeus being, the creator of the Amazons.
Fucking Zeus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not much to talk about that. Ludendorff, pretty much just generic bad guy, irredeemable, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, the first scene we see with him, there's like one of his underlings, like a soldier saying, just so you know, sir, the men have not, like, eaten anything or slept for, like, days. And it's like, oh yeah, you want a little nappy poo? Yeah, you want to have a little bit of breakfast, a little bit of brekkie brew? Okay, I'll show you!
Yeah.
Oh my god, this guy's a Bond villain, that's what he is. The fucking, not even one of the good ones.
I know. Gotta love your generic German generals.
Basically, yeah. And Dr. Poison, she's kind of interesting because she's got like this face thing and the performance is really cool and there's this tireless scientist. And she lives in the end. Like, she's nearly killed by Wonder Woman, but because at Ares' like behest. But she stops herself and she just sort of gets away. And I'm thinking, are we going to see more of this? Well, probably not.
Probably not.
She's in World War One. But and actually thinking about it now, they did still let her get away. She's not like shown to be captured or arrested later, so she could have gone on to do horrible things.
I mean, yeah, and she's young enough that she could very well be involved in World War II.
Absolutely, yeah. She made a gas that there was no defense against. You can't just let a person like that go. She might not be able to make the gas again, but she could do other horrible things. Come on. Just like tie her up or something. Knock her out. Do something other than let her go or smash her head.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. And,
I guess maybe she wasn't really thinking about that at that moment.
Yeah, maybe, I mean, granted, she did have to face off against the god of war, and that sort of takes precedent, you know?
Yeah.
And, then there's, I just sort of grouped these characters together, the three of them, Samir, Charlie, and Chief. What I like about it is at first we think they're, as I said, we think that they're just like stereotypes, just cardboard cutouts of characters. And then it turns out they get some real proper development. And it turns out Samir wanted to be an actor, but as he said, he's the wrong colour. And Charlie, you know, he was a sniper, but then he's got all this PTSD thing going on. And Chief is also there. I don't really, he doesn't get as much development. But it's interesting, and what I like about it is it ties into Diana's development.
Right. Because I like the conversation between Chief and Diana when they're camping about why isn't Chief fighting? And he's like, well, I've lost everything. Why have you lost everything? Points to Steve Trevor, because of his people. And she kind of like looks at him like, okay, what's that mean? So I like that too. Like,
yeah, that was
she doesn't judge him for not fighting.
Yeah, and this is kind of character because he's like a smuggler that sort of plays both sides, and it's pretty cool at the end where he like lifts up, I think, or like holds like the shoulder of like a young German soldier. Because when Ares is defeated, like all the German soldiers are like, well, what the fuck have we been doing? Why were we doing all this shit? And so he's like helps one up, and it's a nice scene. And especially with all of them, with him, Charlie, and Samir. I like that none of them died. I like that they all lived.
Yeah, I'm glad they lived. Yeah.
I wouldn't have known what to do with myself if both Chris Pine and Ewan Bremner had died. I would have been inconsolable.
That would have been awful.
Yeah. I think that's all the other characters that we can really talk about. Except for a couple of minor ones. Anything more that you want to talk about?
Not character-wise, no. I think we covered everything.
No, I think one last thing about the characters. It turns out, after a bit of research, that a lot of the people that played Amazons are like, I think that most of them are like professional athletes. Like a lot of them are like boxers or of various sport things, and they're sort of the ideal people to play Amazons because these women are buff.
Yes, very fearsome.
They are hardcore.
Yeah.
It's pretty. I mean, because you could have made like really pretty. I mean, not that they're not pretty, but they're like really like basically like
Girly.
yeah,
Like,
and it's like,
wimpy kind of like ones.
yeah, and just like have them through CGI or stunt doubles or whatever do not that there weren't stunt doubles, just doing all the action scenes. But no, these women know what they're fucking doing and they look badass doing it.
Exactly.
And that's I think the best summation of this movie is like it's just badass. It's fun, it's dramatic, it's humorous in places, but it's also really solidly built around these core characters and their journey. It's a movie that I think everyone should see.
Everyone should see it. It's a good movie.
It's cool. It's cool because it's. I mean, let's thinking about previous female protagonists in superhero movies. They haven't been good. To be honest. No, they have not been good. Fuck. Oh god, we're not even gonna name them, but it's and I think I like to think, and we know that a couple of them are slated. More like we've got Captain Marvel and things like that coming up. I'm glad that this is like the first of what I hope will be a long line of great female superhero movies.
I hope so too. I really do.
I think it's gonna be. I'm glad because I mean, if Suicide Squad had been good and this movie had been bad, I would have enjoyed Suicide Squad. I was looking forward to that movie, but not. But this movie, I think, needed to be good.
To be good.
I hate the fact that it did need to be good. Because I know DC would not have tried anything like this in the future if it had been bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was good. It's made a lot of money. I don't know if a sequel has been confirmed, but I fucking hope it does.
There's rumors of a sequel. There's definitely rumors.
I hope that Patty Jenkins returns to direct. I hope Gal Gadot returns. She signed on for multiple pictures, so we're going to see more of her in Justice League. Look forward to seeing her in Justice League. And I think this is a great movie. If you have not seen Wonder Woman yet, what are you doing listening to us? Go and see Wonder Woman. What are you doing? Come on. Jeez. But I trust you, Capers. I'm sure you'll have already seen it beforehand. So I think we are going to end it there. Unless there's anything else, one last thing you want to talk about this movie?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, and I'm good too. I'm good because I saw Wonder Woman and it was fucking amazing. I think we're going to end it there. Okay, so thank you very much, Dara Berkey, for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
That's no problem. So also thank you very much to Dan Harris for our logo. You see the logo at the top there, the little microphone, the red and blue glasses that I wear. That's very nice. Now, you can listen to this show on iTunes, Podbean, or at placetohangyourcape.com/PodCapers. Also, we're on the Weedy Geeks and Tangibound network, so check us out there. You can subscribe to us on iTunes or whatever your favourite podcast app is, so you can hear my lovely voice each week. Also, do leave us a rating and review. We want to get your feedback. We want to know, what do you think? Unless it's bad, in which case, fuck off! No, I'm just kidding. Also, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram and all that sort of stuff at AP2HYC using the hashtag PodCapers. We're looking for writers. We're still looking for writers. So if you want to write for us, go to www.ap2hyc.com/write, and you could end up writing for the site. And who knows, maybe one day you could end up on this podcast if you should be so lucky. So thank you very much, Capers. This has been PodCapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape. Cue the music!